Helwick from the Fun Belt.
Let's go, man.
Big Maction going down on Friday. Steve, how you doing, my dude?
I'm doing excellent. I just arrived in Florida last night. I've never been to Hard Rock Stadium before. Looking
Mm.
forward to it. I'm doing UCF Kent State on Thursday night and then going down to the 305 for Miami Friday. So I couldn't be more excited with the coverage this week.
All right, man. We got legendary Amon Richards, former Kane wide receiver. He's gonna break it down a little bit for you. But what's up with the pregame talk? Y'all been getting very braggadocious. They feeling confident in Miami's Ohio, or Ohio's Miami. Y'all feeling confident out there? What do you say about that?
Well, Miami, Ohio was founded 116 years before Miami, Florida. So that was the
Mm.
original Miami when it comes to the
Mm.
Miami debates. And Miami, Ohio fielded a football team before Miami, Florida was even founded.
Mm.
So Miami had the Redhawks had the original take to the Miami, but the last three times they settled it on the field, the Hurricanes won, including in 1987 when they won 54-3. I don't know if Vinny Testaverde was playing for that squad then, but sounds like his era. So
Hey, AR, that boy came ready for you. Hey,
Yeah, he
stop
did.
playing with him.
Listen, man. I'm so
Hey,
tired of that
stop
school.
playing with him. Look,
Listen, man.
hey, Steve, what's y'all sign? What y'all throwing up? What you?
I don't know. Isn't the common anti-Miami gesture like you just frame your
Hey, don't.
Oh, yo,
that's probably what
that's
you'll
it.
see there. It's like the horns down for Miami.
Hey, Steve. You say you going to the game, right?
Yes.
You better stay in the press box, Steve.
I'm gonna say hello, man.
Get into your breakdown, Amon. What you got, man?
Yeah, man. So going to this game, first thing I just need to get off my chest, man. I need to understand what has, you know, your quarterback over there. He's kind of yapping. He's kind of he's chirping a little bit. He's trying to get everyone riled up over here in Miami. So I just need to understand, what has he accomplished in his time over there at the fake Miami to feel the need to start speaking this early on at an away game.
Well, what I think is really interesting about Brett Gabbert is he has a very similar trajectory to Tyler Van Dyke and how their careers went, where they both had really good breakout 2021 seasons where they were just dominant passers. And then 2022, injuries hit, they were limited to few games. And now they're both trying to make a comeback healthy for 2023 with a fresh slate of health. But Brett Gabbert, when he has been healthy, has been a tremendous quarterback for Miami. As a true freshman, he was a starter from day one in 2019. So this is his fifth straight year as a starter. And he led Miami to a MAC championship in his first season there. And he was still a very raw player. He got more polished as each year progressed. And in 2021, he was an all MAC quarterback. He was very efficient throughout the season, improved on all aspects of his game. He had a touchdown to interception ratio of, I think it was 26-6 that year. And he also won Miami their first bowl game since 2010, won bowl MVP honors. And you probably are familiar with the last name Gabbert. His brother Blaine was a first-round draft pick and is still on the Kansas City Chiefs today. It's had a long NFL career carved out for him. So Brett Gabbert hopes to follow in those footsteps. He's not the biggest quarterback at just 6'0", more than 200 pounds, but he's a tough quarterback. And he did enter the transfer portal this offseason, but he spent about a week there before deciding to run it back one last season in Oxford, Ohio. Actually, two, I think. Yeah, he still has junior status somehow because of the COVID redshirt. So he still has a few more years left.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna transition a little bit to the defensive side. Miami has a new offensive coordinator, so we're gonna look to get things, going down the field this upcoming week. So I know Matt Salopek is the leader on defense. So can you just give me a little feedback on him? And I think he's the leader of you guys' defense. So just if you could just give me a rundown about him.
For sure. He is the only player that got on the All MAC team in 2022 returning to Miami's defense, and he's had two straight seasons with over 100 tackles.
Mm.
Belichick started out as a safety, and the thing was, Miami didn't really have much breakout potential in the 2020 season because they only played 3 games that year, which was the least of any FBS team that participated that season. But in 2021, he just instantly broke out, and he kind of played a safety linebacker hybrid role that year before fully transitioning to linebacker for 2022. And he wasn't even first on the team in tackles. They had another linebacker, Ryan McWood, who was really good, but he was one of their two main departures on defense. But Salopek, he is just an excellent run defender, and that showed last year because Miami had the max best run defense, the best scoring defense overall. And I think that his background as a safety is going to help him in pass coverage too. So Salopek's not really somebody who you'll see on a blitz often getting to the quarterback, but he's somebody who stays true in the run game, good at wrapping up, good at tackling, and can also get guys on different levels, tackle receivers on different levels, and really contribute in that area too. So he's certainly the leader on this defense. Just like Gabbert, he still somehow has junior status, so he still has a couple years left with the Redhawks, but he's definitely a force on that defense. You'll hear tackle by number 15 a lot on Friday night.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, no, I think so. I think he's a great player. Flies around, he's gonna have a good game. But I want to touch on the defense coordinator. Bill Brechin, been on the staff 10 years. Second year as DC. Last year was great. Running that 4-2-5 defense. Can you just tell me a little bit about Coach Bill and what makes him great and that defense so good?
Yeah, one thing I really like about the Miami Redhawks is they always fly under the radar. And I think one thing that really helps them is they have a lot of continuity. And you see some of these programs like San Diego State or Ohio across the country that always seem to fly under the radar, where they don't necessarily recruit well, they don't necessarily have explosive offenses year in and year out. But one thing those programs always have is continuity with the head coaches and the coordinators. And that's one thing that Miami has too. Chuck Martin is the longest tenured MAC head coach. He's in his 10th season, and Brechin is also entering season number 10 right now with the Miami Redhawks. And I think even though this is only a second season as defensive coordinator, he has so much background there earlier, working as both a receivers coach and having that knowledge of the offense, and then working as a safeties coach for a while. And Miami's a team, they'll run 3 safeties on the field, including one of their nickelbacks. You'll see Michael Dowell, former Michigan State transfer, in that nickelback role. So they have a lot of defensive backs flying around at all times, but I do think that the back end is the area of Miami's defense that they need the most improvement, because they were a pretty stout run defense last year, but I thought they left more to be desired as a passing defense. So Hurricanes, I think their advantage on Friday night would be Tyler Van Dyke dropping back to pass medium to long distance throws from time to time and break in new targets with Will Mallory gone. So I do think that that's the Hurricanes' advantage against Brechin's 4-2-5 defense. But I mean, it was the top scoring defense in the MAC last year, so Miami's doing something right. And they were pretty offensively challenged in Brett Gabbert's offense, so the defense really carried them to 6 wins in bowl season.
Yep. Okay. And then, yeah, speaking of Brett Gabbert, just want to touch on him. I know we got off to a rough start here, but, I know he suffered an injury week 1. What's his offseason been like in camp, and what have you been hearing, heading up to the season?
Yeah, it was a non-throwing shoulder injury that he suffered last year in the opener against Kentucky, and the game was already decided. There were about 3 minutes left, so there were definitely some frustrations with that injury at the time. And he returned just to play 3 more games a year. I think he could have played more, but he decided to hold on to his red shirt that season. And Miami they had Avion Smith, who started 9 games last year, so they had somebody who was already building experience as a backup quarterback. Gabbert temporarily entered the transfer portal, as I referenced earlier, but he backed out of it after about 7 to 9 days and decided to run it back 1 year with the program. But he has a full slate of health now, and I think he flew under the radar all offseason. You were looking at those award watch lists, and the MAC quarterbacks that were appearing on them were Curtis Rourke from Ohio, DeQuan Finn from Toledo. But I feel like everyone forgot about Gabbert just because he was hurt last year. But in his sample size last year, he remained efficient. He threw 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had a pretty high completion rate. And I thought he managed his games that he played in pretty well, including his last start against Ohio, a team that participated in the MAC championship game. So I think Gabbert enters with a clean slate of health. And, well, there is going to be a target on his back in this game, especially with the comments about being the real Miami this week. But in his shoes and in his defense, what are you going to say there? I mean, you got to be the real Miami, and he wants to show it on Friday, September 1st, and he has a lot of confidence, and I think that speaks volumes to who he is as a quarterback. You got to have a confident quarterback out there.
Yeah, no, I respect it. I understand. Being a player out there. Sometimes you gotta say things to get yourself riled up and, get your own team riled up. So it's not necessarily to make Miami players the real Miami. players upset. It's more so to give his guys that confidence, like, hey, starting quarterback, I'm ready to go. I'm not afraid of these guys. You shouldn't be either. Too bad he gonna have to need a new chin scrap after the first quarter. It's gonna be a good game though. I'm excited to see both sides. The real Miami and you guys up north. I think we're on our end. We're trying to learn. Systems and stuff. So we're gonna use guys out there, some practice dummies, but it's gonna be a good game. Fun to watch. Good tailgating. Not
Yeah.
expected, but going on that point, what's your score prediction? I need to hear you.
Real quick, before you get into score prediction, let me ask you
Yes.
one question.
Yeah.
What do you guys' conditioning look like? Are these guys? Did they do anything extra to prepare for this South Florida humidity? It's about to pour down a lot of rain. By the time Friday hit, it's gonna be muggy down here, man. What is? Are you guys concerned about conditioning at all?
I'm not sure how that'll factor in, and if it does, you sometimes see fatigue in these games in the third and fourth quarters with this. But I mean, I'll say right here, I don't live in Ohio. I live in Texas. I'm used to humid. I'm used to humid football games in the city of Houston. So
Yeah.
that's Those are the conditions I'm used to watching games in. But for Miami, Ohio, I'm not sure exactly how that factors in. Trying to think when they played in the South before. I know a lot of the MAC Bowl games are in. They have games in Mobile. They played. Miami played in the Frisco Football Classic in Frisco, Texas, in 2021. So there's some experience playing in the South there, although it's not as extreme as Miami, I'd say.
Already.
Yeah, they're gonna need a lot of water and pickle juice, because a cramping is gonna happen about third or fourth quarter. To your point, it's very humid out here, so a little advice for you guys, stay
But
warm.
one thing that I do think that they have advantage of was they were so injured last year that a lot of guys saw the field and now they have more experience because of that. Like their starting left tackle, Sam Vaughn, went down in that Kentucky game, their opener, missed the whole season. Now they return the tackle that played in this place as a starter all last season, Will Jados, and they've returned their other tackle, Reed Holsky. So having injuries like Brett Gabbert getting hurt last year, Sam Vaughn getting hurt last year, one of their safeties, Eli Blakey, getting hurt and having season-ending injuries. You bring in new guys and more depth, and they had a lot of continuity. They were not a team that had a lot of guys leave in the transfer portal. So having all those guys sustained, I think that's going to help with depth when you need it in situations like that where there's fatigue, there's conditioning issues. So I think Miami has that advantage. And that's just one advantage also of just retaining a coach for so long is you have fewer transfers. I mean, you see programs like Colorado, Charlotte, Kent State who had coaching changes this offseason. Their whole teams are transfers right now. That's
Yeah.
not what Miami's like at all.
Yeah. Let's get that score prediction, bro. What you got?
Okay. I put
Give
in
me
my
the
preview
upset.
today.
Give me the upset, bro. I don't want
No.
no humility,
Yeah, let
man.
me
Come
hear
on.
this real quick.
Okay. Miami, Florida 30, Miami, Ohio 21. So
Okay.
I have the Redhawks covering the spread. How I think the game plays out is I say the Hurricanes get probably like a 14-0 lead and play ahead about the entire game. You'll see the Redhawks make a few mini comebacks, but never get there exactly. And maybe it's like 30-14 when they get their 21st point. But I do think that the Redhawks can move the ball, especially with Brett Gabbert back on offense. Because if you look at the difference in what this team is like with Gabbert and without Gabbert, last year they were a bottom 10 passing offense in the country. In 2021, when Gabbert played every single game, they were the 21st best passing offense in the country. It is night and day with what we saw from Miami, Ohio last year. The run game, I don't think it'll be good. I think Miami Hurricanes have the pieces up front, guys like Leonard Taylor, who are just going to stifle the run game. And
Right.
I mean, even though the Redhawks have an experienced offensive line, I don't really trust the offensive line too much. They averaged under 4 yards per carry last year. They ranked in the bottom 25 in sacks allowed with more than 2.9 per game. So I do think that advantage Hurricanes up in the trenches, and that's going to force Miami, Ohio into a lot of third and long situations, having to pass for a lot of the game. Now, Gabbert can do that, but it's going to be varying levels of success. So I think 21 points is probably a fair amount that the Redhawks can get. And then for the Hurricanes, Tyler Van Dyke, I think, can dice up that secondary there, breaking in one new cornerback spot in place of John Saunders Jr., their all-MAC cornerback who transferred last year. I don't know who's going to emerge as that Hurricanes' #1 receiving threat. There's options. Tyler Harrell arrives as a transfer. So who's going to replace Will Mallory? Is it going to be Oregon transfer that Cristobal brought with him? So I have some questions on who's going to step up for the Hurricanes there, but I do think that they get the job in the passing game, and that is how they beat the Redhawks 30-21.
Steve, I was gonna lie. I was ready to lie with Miami, Ohio, but you didn't give me a lot of room to work with here, bruh. You know, I can't even. I was ready to predict the upset, but you gave me.
Yeah, I was confused.
There's no upset, man. He's smart.
Okay,
There's no upset.
the last time Miami, Ohio won a non-conference FBS game, so excluding their bowl game. I'm gonna look this up, but I want to say it was 2011 versus Army. Was the last time they beat an FBS team in non-conference play, excluding bowl season.
Army.
Yes, October 8th, 2011 against Army was the last time. So they usually win their FCS game in non-conference play, and then they'll lose their 3 other games. So it's a 1-3 start. But they do well in MAC play every year. They've had a 500 or better record in MAC play every year since 2016. So they've done well in conference play, but they usually drop a few games toward the beginning of the season. So this is probably going to be a loss for the Redhawks given their history, but I think that they can fight tough with the Hurricanes in this one, and they've provided some scares in the past.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just let you know the first maybe 5-10 minutes of the game is gonna probably be the most exciting part for you. After that, you're just gonna get with the flow and just kind of just roll over. So
Go to the bar, bro. They got
yeah,
a
yeah.
nice bar out there.
What are the options?
I want you to have a good time, man. It's a fun time at Hard Rock. Let me tell you.
What are the recommendations near Hard Rock Stadium? I mean, I get in there. I go to UCF Thursday, then I fly into Fort Lauderdale pretty cheap Friday morning, and I have the whole day around Hard Rock. What are some of the recommendations? What should I check out in the area?
I'm gonna whisper to
Office.
you the West Tailgate when you get to the game.
Okay.
Yeah. Pull up to the West Tailgate. My man gonna be out there kicking it, shooting some content and
You
vibing.
will not make it in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a vibe. Hey, Hard Rock Casino, they got a few nightclubs out there. If you're into gambling, it's a nice vibe. They redid it. It's a big guitar. You can't miss it. You know, Las Olas is not that far. You can go downtown. A lot of vibes. Right there on the ocean. You can catch. We got Rock Bar there. A lot of few vibes, man. Cheeks everywhere. Beautiful women everywhere. It's South Florida, bro. Make sure you hang out.
Yeah, sounds like a good time there. I've been excited to go to this stadium for a while. NFL stadium too. I've never
It's
seen
beautiful.
Miami Hurricanes play, and what better matchup than Miami versus Miami, which has already become a rivalry. Did you guys see that diss track that guy released?
Yeah. That's our man,
Dropped
Coop.
it. I'm happy he dropped it, man. We gotta get some energy over here, man. We're riding the high horse that we're better than Miami High. Now forget that, man. Let's talk some smack, man. Let's get this game going, man. You guys think it's a rivalry? We're gonna show you.
It's gonna be a crazy game, man. I'm praying that you guys can find the inner spirit of Middle Tennessee State and squeeze out an upset. But it's not
They were
sounding
throwing
like
like 90-yard bombs out of the end zone last year. That game was crazy. It's always when they play. That's a CUSA thing though. Louisiana Tech, FIU, Middle Tennessee.
yeah.
That's a CUSA thing. I mean, Miami, Ohio is not a member of the CUSA. And I did misspeak earlier. Is they did beat Northwestern last year, so they broke that streak last year. The 2011 non-conference streak, but that did last for a while. Just know that they don't win too many non-conference games.
Got you. All right, man. We appreciate you for hanging out with us, Steve. You know, have fun down at Hard Rock. Maybe we'll run into you. We'll see what's up.
Thanks, appreciate it. Anytime.
All right,
Have a
safe
good
travels,
one.
my guy. All right, we gotta get our Miami predictions in. Then we're gonna talk some LSU.